Hello and welcome to another Datacloud Spotlight pre-event interview. I'm Bill Yates, and in the lead up to the event, we're going to be talking to some of the people who are coming together in Monaco this year to make the reunion in person happen. So for today's interview, I'm very pleased to welcome Alexandra Schless, who is the Group CEO of NorthC Data Centers. Welcome, Alexandra. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Will.
So to start with, would you like to introduce your company and also let us know which panel you're going to be speaking on at the Congress in Monaco this year?
Yes, thank you. So NorthC Data Centers, we are a data center company that operates regional data centers currently throughout the Netherlands and Germany. We have 10 data centers in the Netherlands and 2 data centers in Germany currently. And we looking at expanding this regional play of data centers further throughout Europe.
Okay, further outside of the Netherlands and Germany?
Yes.
Okay. And which panel are you going to speak on in Monaco this year?
Yes, I will be joining the panel on the 26th of April with the topic around creating an ecosystem fit for the digital transformation.
Okay, so taking organisations into the question, how is the role of data centres and data services in general changing for enterprises and organisations that you deal with as part of NorthC's work?
Yeah, so what we currently see is, of course, that enterprises and other organizations, through the digitization of the economy, they are faced with accelerated new technologies, new services, and that requires of these companies and organizations to rethink their infrastructure strategy. Important topics there are, of course, IT agility, adaptability, and transformation. And what you clearly see now is that the data centers are in the center of this whole digital transformation. Data centers nowadays really provide a platform where the different ecosystems can be reached in terms of network ecosystems, cloud ecosystems, application ecosystems. And this is where it also comes together in the data centers. So where in the old days, the data center used to be a place where enterprises put the servers for the power and the cooling and connectivity, it is now really where they have access to the different ecosystems to be able to create that infrastructure that can support the digital transformation.
To what extent would you say that companies are aware of the expanded offerings that data center services can now give? Is there an education piece for your company, or do your customers know that this is now possible in a way that they didn't before?
Yeah, well, what we see is that, of course, in order to be able to really put this whole digital transformation in play and in process, it is important that enterprises, but also the data centers, work together with the right IT partners. The IT partners take the enterprise, the end customer, through this whole journey. And this is where I think it is important also for the data centers to work together with the right IT partners that sit right next to the end customer, the enterprise, to be able to help them through this process. And I think this is how enterprises and really get to know and understand what the data centers can offer to them.
Okay. So on another topic, your company is part of the Climate Neutral Data Center Pact, which is looking to make the industry carbon neutral by 2030. What are you doing at NorthC to make this happen?
Yeah, so for the whole sustainability play, we have a roadmap internally towards 2030, and that means is that we look at every step of this journey, what is possible in terms of new technology, in terms of the different energy sources, how can we apply this to our business today, and what do we need to do to take this into future steps. And I think an important challenge, of course, is that if you look at new data centers that we're going to build, taking into account new technologies and thinking about, for instance, the modular build is of course a little bit more easier than when you have to look at your existing data centers. So we have the new play for our new data centers, where we have a program into 2030, and then separate to that, we also have the strategy for our existing data centers, and how can we turn around these existing data centers also into this carbon neutral process.
So that's a bit of a trickier ask to transform existing data centers rather than starting from fresh.
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge for every, I would say, data center company. Of course, sometimes you have data centers that are already 10, 20 years old. And if you really support this carbon neutral target, then you also must look at your existing data centers, and that is a different approach than when you, of course, talk about new data centers. So that will probably be the challenge in the coming years to 2030. Is are we able to make that transition quickly enough? And of course, it will take also investments from our side to do that. So I think that would be the challenge, but nevertheless, we support this, and we have put together the strategy. So we are absolutely dedicated to meet that target.
So you've mentioned that this kind of transformation is going to be a big challenge across the industry. What do you think? I mean, there aren't many years left till 2030 now. What do you think might be the main thing that stops the industry in general meeting this goal, and what way do you think there could be around such an obstacle?
Well, I don't think I would say the option is to stop it. I think we all need to take our responsibility in this. So, and I know that all my colleagues in the market are looking absolutely at different scenarios. But I think an important play also here is that the governments, in country, support this. And for instance, if you look at, we are currently building a new data center in the north of the Netherlands with hydrogen cells. In order to be able to make that efficient and expand with this technology, of course, we need to have an infrastructure in place that deliver us the hydrogen. And the government is an important partner in that, in how they are going to put in place that infrastructure so that we can make sure that we can fuel these cells. So it is a combination, I would say, of the industry and the government, and that should go hand in hand. And we know all the different governments have this energy transition plan in place, but that also means that they need to put all their effort and, if possible, in certain areas, subsidies to help the industry to get there in 2030.
I'm sure you're very involved into making them see the case that they need to do that. So, yeah. So the final question is, you're like I said, your company's going to be joining us in Monaco this year in April. As we get out of the COVID period, sort of, what have you missed the most about live events and being really part of this face-to-face meetings that happen there?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is probably really the networking part. Really be able to speak in person to people. I mean, we all have seen that Teams meetings and team conferences can be done, but it is much more, I would say, a one way of sending a message, and with a big audience listening. While if you have live events, you have much more the possibility to, as I said, talk to the different people one-to-one, break out in a session around a particular topic. And I think that is particularly, I would say, also with this event, is what is important for a lot of visitors that come here. So yes, definitely, I think that is for me one of the most important parts.
Definitely. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Alexandra, and we'll be very pleased to welcome you to Monaco next month and the rest of the data cloud industry. So the event, for anybody who doesn't know, is taking place from the 25th to 27th of April at the Grimaldi Forum in Monaco. And we are going to welcome a huge number of people from across the industry, including NorthC, and it would be great to see you there. So thank you again for joining us, Alexandra, and we will see you in Monaco.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.